back's crooked though. JB, how you doing, man?
Not much.
All right. Well, yeah. Let me enjoy my morning coffee. It's morning on the other side of the planet. So yeah, I didn't. It all happened in a whirlwind. I'll explain it to you. But I'm back down in Thailand. So look at beautiful Thailand. I'll rub it in while Chicago had the winter. I sent you some videos, on the YouTube. But it's beautiful morning. You see the prayer thing right in front of the hotel here. Um, so yeah, it was just an interesting. I can't sit in a chair in my back. I was carrying around my laptop looking at schools. So I think I might just go with this after school one, which, it's in a nice area. You don't have to ride a motorbike, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, backtracking. So I was at that Chinese medical university, I think I told you, and I was the only other foreign teacher outside of. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
All
can hear
right,
you.
yeah, I was the only other foreign teacher outside of this one guy who's 74 and had been there for 23 some odd years teaching there. And right off the bat, that was peculiar because I've never known anybody to teach at any foreigner to be allowed to teach at a foreign institution that long, right? And he had a host of health problems, etc. Really nice Canadian guy. So that was, everything was just weird. They got me in. They interviewed me. They sent me the agreement. I moved in. They didn't have any classes scheduled to me for the first month. They threw a Chinese contract, and I don't read Chinese, nor do I read 20 pages of it. So they threw a Chinese contract to me. I just signed it because we were already there, moving into the dorm. Then they told my wife it didn't, my pay doesn't kick in until the following month. I mean, who does that? Who moves a teacher into the campus apartment for a full month, doesn't assign class, and then doesn't pay them? Only in China, right? Only in non-Western employment law nations that you have no right. Even foreign teachers, or not for even foreigners that are allowed to work in the states, have better rights than that. I mean, like, who doesn't? If you moved in for a big company, they moved you, or that you came to work in the states, and they moved you in an apartment, they'd have work for you, or they'd pay you until they had work for you, right? But not in China. So anyway, thankfully, I manage, and then but then they give me just two classes, Jay, just two classes on Tuesday, and that's like another red herring, another warning. I'm like, what's going on here? So then anyway, it's just sheer boredom. It's freezing. It's northeastern China, for Christ's sakes. I'm finally getting to see Tyler, every other weekend, whatever. That was great, obviously, but something was up. So then immediately, right when Trump won, and he's starting to just state, oh, I'm going to tariff the shit out of China, Mexico, blah, 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 blah. I'm called in for a meeting to relinquish my appointment or whatever. I go, I just got here. Like, what's going on? Basically, they don't want to say it. They not together, but you hear it from the others. So our government, obviously not Trump, he's not in power yet, but they already raised the Chinese students' visas. They've cut programs with China, and our government has also either stopped or they've decreased partnered university agreements, and in particular with this one, because I guess the three Chinese English teachers that I met had all cross-studied in the States. And I guess our government now has stopped that. Well, turnaround's kind of fair play because they've been notorious, China, for not importing anything from our country, right? And everything else. But so it is what it is. They didn't. I said, they did ask me, well, in humanitarian. I go, well, pay me. Obviously, I didn't want to be. It's like Groucho Marx. You don't want to be in a place that doesn't want you, right? You remember what he said about being in a club? I always said, with you and Menza, that you never want to be a part of a group that wants me as a member, right? That's what Groucho Marx said, right? The famous comedian. He goes, I never want to join a group that wants me as a member, you know. So it's kind of reverse. I don't want to stay on. I didn't want to, you know, say, well, what's wrong, you know, let me fulfill the, you know, I didn't argue. I just said, get me out of here because I didn't think it was safe. You know, the economy's crap, and it was just, it's, you know, nothing's going up there. Let's just put it that way in that country. So I said, well, at least pay me for that first month, right? I mean, give me a break, right? And help me just get out of here. So here I am. I was like, the best and the cheapest way is down in Thailand. The pay, though, you know, at these schools aren't great, but the standard of living is much nicer, better weather. I had frostbite on my hands, as I told you. So it's just taken me, really, I flew in. It's a long jaunt, JB. I mean, it's kind of like flying from, you know, from ours, I would imagine, to like Lima, Peru, you know, from northern China down to Thailand. So it was a, you know, a 6-hour layover in Kunming. I flew into Kunming Airport, and then it's another, you know, then it's only an hour and a half. That was the best flight from there to Chiang Mai. I'm in northern Thailand now again. I hadn't been here for 10 years. But I'm already, it took me like, literally, Jay, like, so what day is today now? It's, well, you're behind. It's the 8th where you are, but it is, or the 9th where I'm at. And so I got in like the 5th or 6th. So, right, that long weekend. And finally, just now, I'm starting to get my body right. I mean, that's how bad, not only the travel, but like northeastern China, it's just, it's hostile. It's just not like not this lovely Thai, you know, it's just, it's hostile, JB. You know, and I'm surprised for you, but you just, you know, you're a very internalized Buddhist that you survived Chicago that long. I mean, it's still not as harsh. Chicago's got some remedies and nicer, you know, if you have money and you can live nicely, but northern China, Jay, I mean, and, it's just brutal. Anyway, here I am, Chiang Mai. So how's things at your end?
I'm all right.
Yeah. So it is, so I don't think, for me, I don't think China's on the horizon for at least another year. Because I just don't, it's just, you know, they're very, it's retaliatory. Look, it's both governments, right? They were just, so it's a wait and see game to see what Trump does, but, you know, it's just, it's really tough. It's just tough there. And especially, again, as a white man, and then they, with Trump, you know, they just associate by gender, race. The Chinese are not, they can't look past race. You know, some of the racist people I've ever met. So, yeah. It's interesting.
So, all right, well, that's the way it was, so, or is, so
Well,
you work it out.
What's that?
I said that's the way it is, but you'll work it out one way or the other.
Yeah, well, no, I've already gotten an offer to teach here, so I'm going to just stay here. I mean, I can't, you know, how, I don't, it was, I don't know, you could just, and then the 74-year-old, so this is the best part, I didn't finish that. He's married, I guess accidentally, but he married the president of the university's daughter, the last president. So he's he's a Canadian, so he's non-fireable, right? It doesn't matter what performance you put out in the classroom. It's the politics behind it, and being the only being the only foreigner, and then from the USA with Trump and his rhetoric. You know, by me being on their campus. See, you've never experienced this. You can read it in books, but it's totally different culture when you're actually here. Is that by them keeping me on as an employee when their unemployment is through the roof, these kids aren't getting jobs leaving college. shows it's like a sign of weakness for the university, right? To still employ a USA teacher, professor, right? That's how they deem it. It's a sign of weakness, especially when Trump, is throwing out all that rhetoric. So it's just not. It's just, I knew some way somehow the Trumpster would be bite me in the ass, but it's yeah, like you said, it is what it is. But Thailand, I wish you were 100% healthy, JB. I think you would have. I think you would this. Well, I mean, Vietnam maybe, but I don't. I think you really would have loved visiting Thailand.
Yeah, probably. But
Yeah.
I am what I am. Looks like I'm gonna stay here for good now. So
Well, yeah, and that. But I mean, I've met every day. This is probably the most international, multicultural city outside of, well, Bangkok, all of Thailand. But I mean, all of these guys come down from Italy, buy a restaurant with their wife, teach them how to cook Italian food, right? I mean, there's these gorgeous Indian restaurants, all over. People from all over, more American retirees down here doing yoga. I mean, you could have started a small little gym. There's Muay Thai. You would have been, yeah. It's just time, day and age, but I mean, you can, and the standard of living again. It's like on a Social Security check, if you 1,600 to 2,000 a month, and you're living like in a place like this, JB, I get free breakfast. I mean, I'm gonna downgrade a little bit and get closer to my school, but I'm still gonna have a pool. I mean, how can you can't beat that without any headache? It's the standard of living is just through the roof in the States. It's just, if anything, hopefully the Trump can correct that somewhat. But
yeah, but I'm 82, so they pretty much take care of it for me at this
no,
rate.
no, for you, no, I know that. I know that. I just wish you could walk, because you would love it
I
here.
could walk,
Yeah.
I could have, but I can't.
I know. This is. I'll be uploading more of these videos. So I'm gonna wait on this one school, but I think an after-school program fits my character better, where it's, the weekends, and then you float around. You have different hour. You have like 3-hour blocks when you're at the school, right, for walk-ins or what have you. Um, I think that suits my character now, as opposed to being, whatever, 8 to 3 every day. And then, you make a little bit more money, but you're there at that school the entire time, as opposed to, 3-hour breaks. 3-hour break here and there. You might do 1 or 2 a day, and then you're done, right? 6 hours, and then you're done. So, yeah. And you're still, the salary here, you're still getting paid, in the top, you're in the top 50% as a teacher, you're in the top 30%, 20%. So that's good. It's a good life. Now if my wife is ever going to free herself, that's up to her, but I doubt it. So you can't control that.
No.
No. Yeah. Or as you would say, you can't fix stupid.
Well, that's true. She owns his store, right?
She doesn't own the store, Jay. She already folded that. The economy is just tanking left and right. She's working, working 14-hour days. It's doing some laboring job. She's just a peasant. She'll just never leave, and then she's making Tyler. Once I get set up, there should be no reason. We could just get a room like this, 2-bed, pool. You don't need a sweatshirt. It's just warm, flip flops. Find some program for Tyler to get into. You can get an education visa here. It's only it's an hour flight from China. From southern China. But she won't do it. She's just afraid of the world. So. Yeah. Anyway, good news though for the world. I guess so remiss is that the Assad regime in Syria has collapsed. He's fled to Russia.
Yes, it's serious. Yeah.
Yeah, in Syria. So that's we were Ukraine and Israel was just more recent, right? Forgot totally about Syria, so that's good news for the Syrian people.
Well, hard to it's hard to say.
Yeah, it's always, well, you get rid of one guy and then the next guy pops up, right? Like
It's the way it seems. Yeah.
right. Yes, there's a vacuum and then another imbecile gets in there, right? Like yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Sorry, I didn't give you a ring. It's just I just had to get my body right. Like I'm gonna go swimming today. You can do your laundry here yourself, and it's just relax. So reading another book, and but I should be back teaching. I want to interview with this one school, and then if not, I think I'll just start teaching with them come the weekend. This one school.
Sounds great.
All
Okay.
right, buddy.
Well,
All right. Yeah, I love you. I'll give you a
give me
ring.
another.
Yeah, in a couple days.
All right.
All right.
Great.
Bye bye, Jimmy.
I'll see you.
All right. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.